Hello everyone, Leaf Reed here, and today we have the Yasna, or the Gathas of Zoroastrian by Zoroaster. It's a big one. It's big and flat. So the Gathas are simply mean prayers or hymns, and of Zarathustra. Zarathustra is also known as Zoroaster. So I was fascinated by this because this is the first sort of, the religious text of one of the first monotheistic religions ever, which is Zoroastrianism, which originated in the Azerbaijan area between northern Iran and southern Russia, so in that kind of middle area. And so I was really fascinated by this because this is the text of one of the first religions monotheistic religions in the world. And so I was very, very fascinated by it. That being said, how is it? Not great, not super insightful or helpful, because this is literally the chants, the recitations, it would be like getting a sermon pamphlet when you walk into a church saying, you now stand for this hymn and these are the hymns, and you sit down. So unfortunately, it's not actually very insightful into the religion itself or what they believed. It is in other parts, but you're kind of getting the sermon booklet. And that is good and bad because you get a very direct interpretation of what things are, and I guess in that funny weird way the sermon at your local church is actually not all that different from a sermon from ancient Iran from 5,000 years ago. It's pretty much, okay, now we all sing praise to the whatever and praise to this, and then you sit down anyway. But maybe I'll just ramble about Zoroastrianism for a little, because it is very interesting. And there's the symbol of the book. It's the man with the circle in the wings, or sometimes you would have a winged bull, and that's very common in ancient Assyria. So a bit about Zoroastrianism and what it is about. It essentially, and I'm recalling from memory now, but essentially you have Ahura Mazda and Ahura Mainu, and so one is the Lord of Truth and one is the Lord of Lies. And truth is also related with light, so it's truth and light against darkness and lies. And the main idea is that the minions of Ahura Mainu, I'm not sure if I'm getting that right actually, I'll correct myself later if I got it wrong, but the forces of darkness and lies come to put shadows over truths in this world, and it's only by praying to the Lord of Light or the Lord of Truth that we can put light upon these lights and uncover them and help us unclear our minds. So I'll just give you an example of the opening text of this work. In the name of God, Hashem Vohu, I profess myself a Mazda worshipper and a Zoroastrian, opposing the Devas, accepting the Ahuric doctrine for Hawan, to fire, the son of Ahura Mazda, to you, O fire, son of Ahura Mazda, with propitiation for worship, adoration, propitiation, and praise. Yatha Ahu Vario, and Zeotar should say to me, Atha Ratush Ashatishit Hachma, and knowing Ashavan should say, Hashem Vohu, Yatha Ahu Vario. I praise good thoughts, good words, and good deeds, and those who are to be thought, spoken, and done. I do accept all good thoughts, and I do renounce all evil deeds, etc., etc., etc. So it's very similar to the affirmations that we make in church, really, and any other kind of monotheistic religion, where we affirm this is good and affirm this is bad. So not super exciting, but they do say there that the son of Ahura Mazda is fire, and so that is one of the reoccurring themes and symbologies you'll find in Zoroastrianism is fire and water. that these are two forces that are purifying, and that fire is a purifying aspect, that things pass through it, the things that remain are the things that are true, and that water, when set to fire, the two opposite elements essentially are purified and produce something new in that process. Kind of like alchemy in a way, at least theoretically. And I think later in this book, they also describe a certain liquid that is made using honey, milk, some other kind of liquids, and it's considered a very specific liquid that is passed through the fire or over the fire and is made specifically for the ceremonies of the temple. I believe Zoroastrianism, it has like 4,000 practitioners left worldwide or something, like it's an insanely low number. But I think there is actually one last functioning Zoroastrian temple somewhere in Azerbaijan or that area. Which is just really fascinating just to know about this stuff even existing, even today. It's really, really cool. And so a lot of these, I announce and carry my love for this person. These are the 30 masters of Asha. That were probably by Zarathustra. So in this lore, in this world, essentially you have Ahura Mazda, who is God, and Zoroaster is his main priest, his prophet that comes down on earth to spread the message of this religion and is the Jesus or Muhammad figure here. And so they give praise to him as well as to Ahura Mazda. So it's like, I dedicate this to these deities and these gods and these mountains and blah, 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 blah. I announce and carry out this Yasna for the lofty Lord who is Asha itself, and for the masters of the days and their duration, and the days during daylight, for the moons, for the years, and the seasons of the masters of Asha, and the time of Hawan. And it goes on and on and on like this. And I think there's one point where it just repeats itself. It's just repeating these incantations as if it was a trance or method. A lot of this, a part of this I definitely did skip, because it literally was repeating the same thing in a slightly different wording, like over and over and over again. So here's where it talks about the waters. And I offer thee haromas with a complete and sacred offering for a propitiation to the good waters. For the good waters Mazda made, and I offer this hyoma water with scrupulous exactness and with sanctity, and this fresh milk and the plant Hadhanepata uplifted with the complete and sacred offering for the propitiation of the waters which are Mazda made. And I offer this bear's man with its Zeothra. I'm just going to like stumble through all these words like they're a bunch of thorny weed bushes. And thou didst cause, O Zarathustra, all the demon gods to vanish in the ground, who aforetime flew about this earth in human shape and power. This hast thou done. Thou who hast been the strongest and the staunchest, the most active and the swiftest, and in every deed the most victorious in the two spirits world. And so that's kind of a little, so we get a little bit of lore, a little bit of droplets about who Zoroaster was, what he did, how he banished evil apparently from the world. This fourth blessing I beseech of thee, O Heoma, thou that drivest death afar, that I may stand forth on this earth with desires gained and powerful, receiving satisfaction, overwhelming the assaults of hate, and conquering the lie. And so it's kind of like the lie is the liar, which is Ahura Menu, which is the worst thing that you could be, is basically a liar in this religion. So if you wanted to actually learn about Zoroastrianism, you might actually better just going on Wikipedia or something, because this is just not super helpful. It's giving you the direct thing, but it's like walking into a church and looking around and listening to the priest as if it's in a different language and you have no idea what's going on or what anything means. Oh yeah, so here's it. O Heoma, endow the man who drinks thee mixed with milk. Yea, more prosperous thou makest him, and more endowed with mind. So there's very much an emphasis on drinking waters and praising fire, but also on milk and how milk is very good. And I guess that I can at least agree with a 5,000-year-old religion. It's funny because they mention many times in the Gathas here, like, and to you, O ye bountiful immortals, ye who rule aright and dispose of all aright, I offer the flesh of my very frame and the blessings of my life. So even though this is a monotheistic religion with Ahura Mazda at the top and center, it also implies the existence of other sort of deities or sub-beings which are also have similar or powerful abilities. We worship the Creator, Ahura Mazda, in the fire, Ahura Mazda's son, and the good waters which Ahura Mazda made, and holy, and the resplendent sun of the swift horses, and the moon with the seed of cattle in his beams. And we worship the star Tishrita, and the lustrous and glorious. And we worship the soul of the kine of blessed endowment, and its creator Ahura Mazda. And we worship Mithra of the wide pastures, and Srayosha the blessed, and Rashnu the most just, and the good, heroic, bountiful Fravishis of the saints, and the blow of victory Ahura given as it is. And we worship Raman Hivastra, and the bounteous wind of blessed gift. So it's interesting that they also worship and bless and give, worship to these other things, even though it's in a pantheon-like. So it's more of a pantheon almost, where Ahura Mazda is at the top. And so who are the Devas? These are demon gods. These are these evil creatures. Something else they said they worship is they worship the God mind. That they worship this state of mind or the state of being which gives them light and energy. And they have a whole priest says and response to it. So, I think you get the idea. O Mazda, in the beginning didst create the individual and individuality through thy spirit and powers of understanding, when thou didst make life clothed with the body, and thou madest actions and teachings whereby one may exercise one's convictions and one's free will. So they obviously emphasize free will, individuality, thought, and truth. The teacher of evil destroys the lore. He, by his teaching, destroys the designs of life. He prevents the possession of good thought from being prized. These words of my spirit I wail unto you, O Mazda, and to the right. It is they, the liars, who destroy life, who are mightily determined to deprive matron and master of the enjoyment of their heritage, in that they would prevent the righteous, O Mazda, from the best thought. So it's interesting how it very much relies or attacks the mental states that we are really in charge of, that we're not only attacking liars externally, but the liars within ourselves. So it's pretty decent, honestly. Anyway, a lot of this is just praising Zoroaster and Ahura Mazda. A lot of it's just praise and glories and whatever, and so it's actually not very interesting, sadly. There are a few little, sayings or parables here and there, but it's not really a story. It's not really a series of morals or virtues. It's not even like a bunch of 10 commandments or anything. It's just a bunch of stuff that is mildly interesting. This is interesting. Praise to the star, so which we name the sun, for it is Ahura Mazda's eyes. And then it goes on a little more and finally concludes by saying, and we pray again for the kind once more with these gifts and ceremony actions, which are the best. And then you kind of have a glossary here of all the phrases and words and everything. And it's funny because there are things, there are Arabic words, Avestan, Old Persian, Sanskrit, Pahlavi. So there's a whole kind of mixture of all the cultures in that area and their borrowed words and language and stuff. And Really interesting stuff, actually. I think the glossary might be more interesting just to get an idea of how they thought the words and ideas and concepts that they used. But anyway, I wanted exposure to one of the earliest religions and earliest monotheistic religion in the world, and I got it. I'm not sure what I really got out of it, though. I think it might be better just to read up about Zoroastrianism in the internet and see what they have to say, and just the history of it, rather than just going face first and talking to it directly. That being said, it's interesting. It's fascinating to see, where these ideas come from, how they developed over time, what similarities you can see between this ancient religion and our modern religions, and see what has stood the test of time or what refuses to go away. But anyway, I'm just fascinated with ancient cultures and religions and ideas and concepts, but I wouldn't really recommend this because it's not going to give you a whole lot of insight. It's really going to do more to just confuse you. So I actually would not recommend this if you're into that kind of stuff. He promoted the spirit of Asha, or truth, order, and justice, in opposition to Druj, which is falsehood and deceit. Oh, it was Angra Mainyu, not Ahura Mainyu, Angra Mainyu. And the forces of Akmana, or evil thinking. But anyway, there it is. A very pretty kind of cover, interesting concepts to be exposed to. But again, I wouldn't recommend actually reading this because it's not gonna give you a lot of what you could just find online of the basic synopsis of it. But yeah, no, there it is. The Gathas of Zoroaster, or Zarathustra. Don't know which one is the real one at this point. Anyway, that's it for this one. I'll see you guys later, and as always, keep reading.